Apple has just announced lossless Apple Music, alongside a bunch of other major Apple Music updates. And if you're as confused as I initially was, then stick around because I'm going to explain everything you need to know, and more importantly, the perks that you will get from all of this. Okay, so the first thing that Apple announced was lossless audio. And the easiest way to understand what lossless audio is to think of this as video. When you watch a video on YouTube, you get this toggle for different resolutions. The higher the number you select, the better the quality will be. Lossless audio is pretty much the highest toggle that you can have. Now with video, if you want to watch a video in, let's say, 4K, you need 1, a fast network, and 2, a 4K display. With audio, it is pretty much the exact same thing. If you want to listen to your music in higher quality, you need 1, a fast network, and 2, dedicated hardware. Now, the big difference between video and audio, up until now at least, has been that with video, you could fairly easily select the quality that you wanted to watch it in. But with audio, you couldn't. You were stuck with whatever quality the streaming services that you were subscribed to offered. Apple Music, for example, offers music streaming at 256 kilobits per second, which is the equivalent of 720p video. So it is good, but you can do much better. With Spotify, at least with Spotify Premium, you can get 320 kilobits per second, which you can think of as 1080p. Google Play Music also offers 320, but YouTube Music Premium only offers 256. Again, the higher the number, the better the quality is. Now, the really important thing to know here is that 320 kilobits per second is actually the highest for an MP3 file. If you want to increase this number, hence the quality, you also need to change the format from an MP3 file to something like AIFF, WAV, or something else. Now, Apple doesn't use MP3, they use AAC, which is similar to MP3, but it is still considered to be a lossy format. Lossy is an antonym of lossless, which means that with an MP3 file, or in this case AAC, you will lose some of the audio data, aka the quality, when compared to a lossless file. Think of lossless as being a Blu-ray copy of a movie, whereas lossy is a Netflix streamed version of that Blu-ray movie. Because people have different internet speeds, Netflix has to reduce the quality and compress it in order for you to be able to play that movie in an instant. Well, music works the same way, really. This is why Apple hasn't gone for the lossless market yet, as people needed a fairly fast connection to stream it alongside dedicated hardware as well. Okay, so what changed? Well, Apple just announced that starting from June, most of Apple's music's catalog will offer lossless quality. But, just like with video streaming, Apple will give you the option to choose different audio qualities by just going to the settings, music, and then selecting the audio quality from there. But does that mean that they will have multiple versions of lossless? Yes. It turns out that lossless can be more or less compressed. Think of this as a 4K Blu-ray disc that has literally been compressed, so in Finder, to reduce the file size. The first lossless tier that Apple will be offering is CD quality. Now, CD quality has a bitrate of 1411 kilobits per second. This is up from Apple's current 256 kilobits per second, so you can definitely tell that this is a gigantic improvement. This is 16-bit lossless audio at 44.1 kilohertz. But this is just for the first tier. The second tier is 24 bits at 48 kilohertz. Now, you're probably wondering, what do these two numbers mean, the bit depth and the sampling rate, and why don't we just have a bit rate here? Well, 24-bit audio is when we enter the realm of super high-res audio, so think of this as the 4K of audio. So it's just measured differently, but I want to keep this video as easy to understand as possible, so all you need to know here is that 24-bit 48 kilohertz audio is even better than CD quality. And finally, the third tier that Apple will be offering is 24 bits at 192 kilohertz, which is an absolutely insane level of quality. Think of this as 8K. Okay, cool. So now you're probably wondering, what hardware will you need to be able to take advantage of these new quality options, as a faster internet connection is, of course, the main requirement before that. Well, for the first two tiers, so CD quality and 24-bit at 48 kilohertz, Apple says that it can be played on any Apple device that can also play Apple Music, so any recent Mac, iPod Touch, iPhone, iPad, Apple TV, and so on. Now, the third tier, the 24-bit at 192 kHz, will require a special type of hardware called an external DAC. Something like this essentially, which will be able to send more power to your headphones and therefore make them sound even better in order for you to be able to listen at this quality. Speaking of headphones, can you just use any headphones then for the first two tiers? Well, not really, because you see, Apple's AirPods are all wireless, which means that they communicate via Bluetooth. And it turns out that Bluetooth headphones, most of them at least, including AirPods, do have a limit in terms of how high they can stream the quality from your device, which seems to be at around 220 kilobits per second. Sony does have a proprietary codec, LDAC, which can go up to 990 kilobits per second via Bluetooth, but Apple isn't using that anyway. Which means that to take advantage of Apple's first two tiers of lossless quality options, you'll need to have some wired headphones. Okay, but which wired headphones should I get then? Well, for the most part, any over-the-head headphones automatically have a greater acoustic range than the tiny in-ear ones. But if you really want something amazing, I would highly recommend looking at some Audio-Technica ones, as they have some very good prices and the sound quality is very impressive for that price. Link in the description for a few good models. So what if you have the Airpods Max, as you can indeed connect them through Lightning? Well, unfortunately, Apple has confirmed to The Verge that the AirPods Max are not an option at all, which really sucks considering how expensive they are. So I think that Apple's lossless quality options are great for desktop Mac users who would likely have a pair of over-the-head headphones connected, and in that case, they can indeed listen to higher quality audio right away. Okay, now aside from lossless audio, Apple has had two more announcements, with the next one being spatial audio. You remember spatial audio that we got with the AirPods Pro, where we got this 360-degree sound when watching movies? Well, this is basically the same thing, but for music. Apple hasn't yet clarified how spatial audio for music works, as unlike with a movie, you don't have a display in front of you, so you don't have an anchor. So in a way, spatial audio for music is essentially Dolby Atmos, which is actually Apple's third announcement. I mean, they even refer to these two as spatial audio with support for Dolby Atmos. And what this is just a better separation of the instruments in a song. So some songs will support this, so not all of them will, but the ones that will support this will give you a more immersive experience. And you can enable and disable this in the settings, by the way. What's really cool about the spatial audio with Dolby Atmos feature is that you don't need wired headphones for this. Instead, you can use any Apple or Beats headphones with the H1 or W1 chip. So even the AirPods 1 from 2016 will work, as well as built-in speakers on the iPhone, the iPad, and the Mac. And it turns out that even the HomePod will support spatial audio. Unfortunately, not lossless audio. Apple did state that you can use other brands of headphones, but you will need to enable Dolby Atmos separately in the settings. And there you go, this is the whole Apple Music update story explained. So now you're probably wondering, how does this compare to other music services? Well, the only ones that offer a high-res plan are Deezer, Tidal, and Qobuz. Deezer costs $14.99 a month, Qobuz costs $12.49, and Tidal costs $19.99. Apple Music is just $9.99. And Apple also offers the highest quality at 24-bit 192 kHz compared to Tidal's 24-bit at 96 kHz. So at the end of the day, the main thing that the majority of you will get from this is Dolby Atmos support, which will be indicated via this icon here on supported songs. And this will make everything feel way more immersive than it is now. But that's pretty much it, unless of course you have some high-end headphones to take advantage of Apple's lossless features. It will be out in June, so I'm super curious to trying it out. So until then, definitely let me know in the comments your thoughts on all of this, and also subscribe if you want to see more interesting tech videos like this one hopefully was. I'm Daniel, this has been Zen of Tech, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Zen of Tech, signing out. Cheers.